Mic check, mic check. All right, and we are live. Thank you so much for tuning in. Always appreciated, whether you're watching this live or watching this back. I appreciate you. Get the sweatshirt shipped up because it is a pretty elite sweatshirt, if I don't say so myself. But yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. That usually don't stream Tuesday, but today we're out here, we're doing it. Got a couple things coming up the next few days, busy week ahead. So figured, you know what, I gotta get another stream in. Let's do it. So let's hit the chat real quick. Let's go GameStop. Windfall. Hope you're doing well, man. I'm still going to hold a few shares till the day I die. Chatoon. Hope you're doing well. And hey, if that's how you're rocking and rolling, that's how you're rocking and rolling, right? Love the company. They're about to turn a profit soon. It's hype as fuck. Yeah, Windfall. I think so. I mean, obviously, we'll have to see, right? Numbers will speak for themselves as the numbers come out in the future. In this earnings, I will be trying to talk, or this live stream rather, I'm going to go ahead and try and talk about what I think Q3 earnings may look like. Maybe start to kind of put like the Tetron estimates on the board, stuff like that. We'll kind of go from there. But just starting out, hey Noah, September, hope you're doing well. Thanks so much for being here. Let's go GME, please. We're waiting for MOS is coming. Leonardo, hope you're doing well. Yeah, it's a journey, right? It's truly a journey. Howdy everyone, Brayton, good to see you. Hello all, Fresh Maker, good to see you. Sup, did you watch the video? Another thing, I'm so sorry, I'm still slacking. uh, Send it to me again. I promise you, I absolutely promise you, I will watch it and I will put it on next stream. Put it right in the middle of my Obsidian. Right here. I'm going to add it to my canvas so there's no way I could forget. Another thing, aka ringing bells, right? If I'm not mistaken, watch video. I'm so sorry. I know you told me. I said I was going to do it, and I lost track of time again, or just everything. But can't stop, won't stop. I think you've been too exhausted to miss us. Yeah, no, September, dude. I always miss the stream, but it's just a crazy time right now in my life. Like, it's all excuses, right? Like, there's always time, and it's a matter of like wanting to do it, but it's just like a lot of stuff has been on my mind that has absolutely nothing to do with investing, GameStop, like just things in my personal life. That I'm not going to get into. Things I just have to work through and family stuff and whatnot. I keep it general. But no excuses. No excuses. That's not an excuse. So this is the first thing I want to touch on. The new integration brings GameStop a $50 billion market. I found this surprising. I saw some people posting about this and I was like, that's weird. Like, when does the street post about this? And it's like a crypto section of the street. I know there's like the Wall Street's meme section of the street website, and that's typically where GameStop articles are posted. But this is interesting. So I figured at least cover it. I just kind of saw it at a glance today. I didn't really fully digest it, so I'll go ahead and do that here first to start out. So, new integration brings GameStop to a $50 billion market. GameStop's new market partnership will give it technical capability to reach a massive rising market with the gaming niche. The rapid evolution of blockchain technology is not reshaping the financial sector, but it's also poised to revolutionize the gaming industry. In a recent discussion exploring this possibility, Roundtable anchor Rob Nelson and Chris Barnes, trustee at Telos Blockchain, delved deep into the transformative potential of blockchain technology in gaming. While many associate blockchain technology primarily with cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, its implications stretch far beyond. Nelson emphasized the technology's role not just in creating stores of value or currencies, but as a potent enabler or potent enabler for a broader technological advancements. Barnes was quick to illuminate how Bitcoin's groundbreaking feature, the ability to reduce or outright eliminate counterparty risk in financial transactions, could be just the beginning. The very principle can extend its roots into the gaming sphere, potentially granting billions of gamers worldwide true ownership of their in-game assets without looming shadow of game developers. The gaming industry, with over 3 billion gamers globally and a whopping 50 billion annual market dedicated to in-game skins and assets, stands at the cusp of a resolution. Barnes postulated that by integrating blockchain technology such as Telos, the gaming world could usher in an era where players can own, trade, and even rent their in-game assets. The autonomy offers unprecedented financial potential and interactivity for the gaming universe. I think that's absolutely the case. But there's a lot of stigma like, oh, keep NFTs out of gaming, right? I literally have one of my biggest haters or one of my biggest engaging accounts, so still I don't care. I just kind of laugh at it. SNIG on Twitter, he's always commenting like, yeah, stop giving NFTs in gaming, and it's like, okay, you can say whatever you want, but I think individuals that are playing games, why would you not truly want to own your own assets in game? I don't see why you wouldn't. I think it's more so about making it simple for the average person where you're not thinking like, oh, this is a Web3 thing I'm doing. It's just, oh, I'm owning my assets. Like it's simply that. And then it just is happening based off the underlying technology, if that makes sense. So it has to have just traditional, values that games do and just function as a normal game would that's non Web3, but it has the Web3 functionality underneath it for like these type of games. And it's interesting to talk about Telos because GameStop did break off their partnership with Telos, but I believe Telos is partnered with Elixir, if I'm not mistaken, off the top of my head. I gotta make that a section of Obsidian, like the crypto section. I should add that for future reference. So I definitely gotta add. Let's see. This is the overall gaming. Get going over here. Yeah, so the partnerships, Elixir, put Telos, broke off relationship, but may be indirectly connected by other partnership. Kind of leave it there for future reference. But to keep going here, the gaming industry, over 3 billion gamers globally. Did I read this? Yep. Okay, I already touched on this. And I don't think it'll be just simple like, oh, yep, every game's suddenly Web3, but I think it just becomes more and more likely as there's just one or two games that really break out and have that Web3 functionality and the capability to own your own assets, and people who are selling the assets for some kind of monetary gain, again, not necessarily like life-changing money, but just, hey, well, I played this game for so long and I got this really rare item and someone else is actually willing to buy it off me. That's crazy. And I got it by just being the best at the game or playing it for so long, right? Things of that nature. Or, just in the case of like Fortnite, right? If you have like the OG Fortnite skins, right? Now Fortnite is kind of making a comeback with how they revamped everything to like the OG way it was, from what I understand. I mean, I haven't fully looked at it yet, but with that being the case, people value like, or what's like a high value like skin in Fortnite is like the OG like season one skins, but you can't just sell that. You would have to sell your whole Epic Games account, right? And who wants to do that? So I think the idea of trading like skins in games and assets in games makes sense, but it's just about like making it possible in a simple way where the average gamer is still focused on the game and it's not about that. It's just happening naturally. Perhaps the most tantalizing revelation from the discussion was the collaboration between GameStop and Telos. As Nelson articulated, GameStop, once a traditional brick and mortar retail outlet, might be on path to a metamorphosing into a cloud-based gaming titan. By harnessing blockchain technology, GameStop could be a platform where players can fluidly move their assets across games, creating a seamless ecosystem. Yeah, I think that's kind of the goal with Player, and obviously we'll have to see what it looks like when it comes out. But they're not partnered with Telos anymore officially. If you go on GameStop Player, it's now not on the top bar anymore, so they did remove that. So it's interesting that this article came out today, right? Like, why did this come out today talking about that when they're not officially partners anymore? It's a little bit weird. It makes me wonder, like, purpose of the article, the timing of the article. Is there something I'm not seeing? Is it a deeper meaning? Maybe, sort of, kind of. Barnes further detailed the specifics of this ambitious partnership, underscoring the scalability, efficiency, and prowess of Telos' infrastructure, which can potentially support thousands or even millions of in-game transactions. Nelson aptly pointed out the significance of being an industry pioneer, with GameStop positioning itself at the vanguard of blockchain-based gaming. This bold move might well set the stage for other industry giants to follow suit, heralding in a new era in gaming. So Microsoft and a couple and Take Two Games, I forgot who else. I've seen patents filed with other companies that are involved in gaming, right? In some shape or form, and it doesn't necessarily mean like, oh yeah, they're definitely going all in on it, but it shows that there's other companies that are looking into this. It's not like only GameStop is trying to pioneer like the Web3 gaming. I think GameStop's trying to be at the forefront and use the strength of the brand name, but there's other people starting to look at it, and I think that kind of gives it some more credibility besides GameStop just doing it in the sense like they're trying to be first because there's other people who are other companies that are starting to get involved in it. That's kind of my thought on it. And obviously we'll have to kind of see what takes place over the next year or two. And we'll have a lot better idea of what's truly going on with Web3 market in terms of gaming, like 1 year from now or 2 years now, 3 years from now. And once we see a GameStop player come out, I think that will be exciting, ideally, right? I mean, of course, I'm a little bit biased saying that, but we'll see what it brings, and that's like a starting point. We can go from there. And when it does launch, it doesn't necessarily mean it will be like the full version of it, right? So for the longest time, I remember NFT Marketplace was technically in beta. Did it ever technically come out of beta? I'm not too sure. And maybe at some point they could rebrand it in some other way, like Gaming Asset Marketplace. I mean, obviously they need a better name than that, but I feel like the name NFT is just so soiled at this point where you just say, oh yeah, like it's like if this game, you explain the whole thing, the person will be, oh, okay, interesting, interesting. Yeah, you get to own your assets. Oh, okay, that's an interesting idea. Yeah, it's in the form of NFTs. No, NFTs. Oh, no, no, no. NFTs are bad. Oh, I hate NFTs. Oh my God, it's such a scam. Blah, blah, blah. It's like we went through such a crazy period where there was such an NFT hype train, right? Or like people just buying like pictures of apes and pictures of this and pictures of that. And it's like, this is worth thousands of dollars. And I see why people like keep it real. Like, I see why people are like, okay, that is silly. But when you understand what an NFT actually is, and it's about like the blockchain technology behind it and the contract within it saying, like, oh, this is this item. And if you want to move it, you don't need like somebody else to be involved, right? You don't need, or you do, right? Because it'd be like the marketplace facilitating it, but it's all on the network. So again, we'll have to see what comes with it. And I'm going to be honest, I can continue to strengthen my knowledge in Web3 gaming as it does evolve and as more information comes out. And I do really need to, I think, do more research on it. Like, I'm familiar with it and I believe in the idea of it, but the nooks and crannies, like the specifics, like I could become more familiar with. So I'm going to try and do that as well. However, every innovation comes with its share of skepticism, of course. Addressing concerns from Bitcoin maximalists, Barnes emphasized the diverse use cases of different blockchains. While Bitcoin remains unparalleled in its decentralization as an impeccable store of value, it might not be the best fit for niche applications like Web3 gaming. Platforms like Telos, on the other hand, are tailored to cater to these specific needs without seeking to supplement Bitcoin. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I forgot what company or what crypto where it's like they're trying to build their own chain. I think it's Avalanche, where essentially they're trying to, if I remember correctly, I did research on them a long time ago. Essentially, Avalanche is trying to give companies, if I remember correctly, don't take this with the absolute grain of salt. Avalanche is trying to take, like, have companies, essentially establish their own blockchain or whatever they're building and they want blockchain integration, they kind of get their own like chain split off from what I understand. I mean, that's a very, very rough explanation. I'd have to revisit that, talk on that anymore. But I think, blockchain's becoming more and more relevant to companies, and I think gaming, absolutely. It's going to take more time and it's going to take more figuring things out. And we've been in like a crypto, bear market for a long time, but during bear markets is when companies build and, you prepare for the next hype cycle, right? And the last hype cycle of crypto, like one of the big things that was part of it was NFTs. Maybe the next hype cycle with crypto, big part of it is Bitcoin, right? So, I'm sorry, not Bitcoin, the gaming side of it. Nelson and Barnes' discussion underscores a transformative era where blockchains elevate gaming to unprecedented heights. Watch the full discussion here, but it can't even be played. Okay, interesting. And Bitcoin is about to test another 52-week high today. It looks like if scale miners are to survive, Bitcoin price must hit 50K. But, looking at Bitcoin today, it was near a 52-week high when I looked at it. I personally believe in Bitcoin in the future. I think with the dollar just being endlessly printed and Bitcoin being created on a finite schedule, the Bitcoin halving coming up, I think it makes a lot of sense as a up and coming alternative asset to potentially have, if it fits your preference, right? For me, I'm a young individual. I can handle, more risk than somebody who's maybe 50, 60, 70, right? Where they're not really interested in Bitcoin. That has no use case for them. Not to say there isn't people that age that aren't interested in it. But for me, it fits my personal like risk versus reward profile. And I feel like I do have good understanding of it. And I would call myself more of a Bitcoin guy than a crypto guy. But to be very clear, it doesn't mean I don't believe in Ethereum and the technology underlying in everything that Web3 gaming could be. I think it does have to be built on Ethereum, and Ethereum is more for building. But I think if you're looking for an alternative asset class, like Bitcoin is that. So if that kind of makes sense. That's my perspective on it, at least. But let's move ahead here. I left my phone on the other side of the room. That's usually how I'm checking chat as of late. So I guess we can start to look at Q3 earnings. We'll start to think about it. Do a little split screen action today. Well, I guess I should do that once I have it pulled up here. Because we want to look at Q3 of last year. And that's the numbers I'll be comparing to. Or reference point, rather. Let's see. Do we have, who was the spammy person from the other day? I don't even know who it was. They were totally bugging. Glad they're not back in the chat. All good. Hey brother, going live in a little bit, but watching you till then. Rance, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. We got to run it back soon. I'll have to hit you up. We'll have to plan something good soon. It's been a while. I said a little off my game. At the same time, I'm done my own path. I'm figuring out my own things right now and just taking care of some stuff. But at the same time, like I always appreciate talking to you. So definitely got to make that happen soon. Marantz is under my protection. Yeah, Marantz is the man. Marantz rants. Hello, Wendy. Hope you're doing well. San Diego GME. Hope you're doing well. Brayton. Hope you're doing well. Oh, I already said hi to you, but still hope you're doing well. Yeah, Baza. Yeah, that's what it was. I'll mute him if he comes back next time because it's funny and it's like whatever. And damn, it's warm in here. I gotta take this off as much as I love wearing my GameStop sweatshirt. But it's also like, all right, get out of here. You're spamming the chat. Calm down, buddy. Oh, I just realized I forgot to tweet out the stream today. Totally slacking. The thing is too, guys. I'm going to a wedding tomorrow. It's my girlfriend's like childhood friends. Like I'm not even really familiar with the person to be honest with you. And then I have family stuff over the weekend coming up. So pretty much I'm off the rest of the week from work. But I have to do so much to like not be overwhelmed next week when I get back to work with what I'm doing now. So that really just drained me today more than I thought. And yeah, exactly. No excuses. No excuses. Don't feed the trolls. Yeah, exactly, September. You're right. It's not even worth it. It's not even worth it. Why did someone talk about dividend predictions for Q3? Yeah, Meagle, that's a great question. All of a sudden, people are like, oh yeah, GameStop's going to do a one-time dividend. I'm like, I don't know. That seems a little random, right? Like, that doesn't really seem like something that makes sense right now. I think they need to be profitable consistently before that's something that takes place. So I understand the idea, and I kind of talked about it last time. It could do a one-time dividend of $1, right? And that would cost them $304 million, and theoretically they can with almost like 1.2 billion in cash on the balance sheet. But does that really make sense when they're just teetering on the edge of profitability? Wouldn't you want to be consistently profitable first? And also, if you are trying to get involved in things like Web3 and just try new things to bring growth back to the company, then why would you want to start issuing dividends? I feel like you do that once you have some growth initiatives rocking and rolling and things just up and running in some shape or form. So to me, I don't think dividend makes sense right now. Although I was saying last stream how I think in the long term, it'd be great to get that cash flow coming in. But in the shorter term, I think it's about just continuing to improve operations, number one. Number two, seeking the opportunities such as Web3 to expand, maybe some more Milan, Italy type stores. And then also, if the share price is going to go lower, right? Let's say Q3 comes in, whatever the results may be, GameStop drops, right? And it starts declining after that. I think it becomes very, very likely the company repurchases shares because you get to a spot where if it's like $8 a share, literally 50% of the share price would be available in cash, assuming they had the same amount of cash at the next reported quarter. as they do right now of 1.2 billion. So at $8 a share, GameStop is worth like $2.4 billion as a company. So literally they could theoretically buy back half of their shares at that price point. Like with if they had just put all the money out to share buybacks, obviously they wouldn't do it like every single penny they have, but I think share buybacks would be more impactful than dividends at this point in time. So, but it is a little weird how just suddenly like a narrative, like I don't know. I feel like I haven't kept up with just the miscellaneous articles as much lately, so maybe that's part of it. You know, maybe there's been some kind of narrative that's been built in some shape or form. I don't know. I have to do a deeper look. But let's see. So Q3 of last year. So I'm gonna start my estimates based off of. So they did decline year over year from last year. Last year Q3 versus Q3 2021. And you know, part of that maybe some winding down of stores, economy slowing down a little bit. But I feel like with this quarter, you know, we've had a generally stronger year, I would say, for gaming, very generally speaking. GameStop, you know, continuing to evolve, continuing trying to do the right things. So for the revenue estimate, I think it'd be kind of fair to assume, you know, about flat, maybe a slight improvement, right? Let's say top line revenue. I don't want to put a number on it yet, right? And maybe I could do this red. TBD. So I won't do that. And then I'll do purple. Maybe 2% revenue growth on top line. Just put top line. Right, and then SG&A estimate, I think, yeah, that was just copied from up there. This wasn't the actual numbers. So SG&A same quarter of last year was 387.9. The most recent quarter that we had, Q2 23, it came in at 327.5, right? So seeing a number like that is a lot more ideal. You know, you still have the immutable X write-off that's taking place. So SG&A is a little bit lower each time because of the actual, like, oh gosh, totally blanking out. Immutable X situation with the token grants, where essentially because they fell in value, it's being recognized like off of SG&A each time. Where is it here? IMX token grant. Nope. Sorry guys, I'm failing you right now. Off the game. My brain is just not working right today. I don't know why. I got a lot of sleep last night too. I didn't get a lot of sleep the night before that, so maybe that's part of it. But I don't know. Let's keep rocking and rolling. GameStop canvas. Here it is. So in January 2021, they got the agreement with Immutable X. So it was a grand total of 112.8 billion. So it was a non-current receivable over a 2-year period, and is deferred income liability. So companies able to lower SG&A slightly each quarter from 22 to 23 by recognizing the revenue periodically in relation to the token grant. But to digress, SG&A estimate, right? You know, they cut costs more from last year, right? I would believe so, based on what I've seen. So while I'm not sure we'll see 327.5 again, which that was my estimate, and SG&A came in at 322. Maybe we're looking at something in the 330 to 335 range, right? It's just thinking about that. And if that were the case, right, and we assume the 2% growth, let's see, so 1.02 times 1,186.4, that would be 1.21 billion of revenue. And we assume that SG&A. Okay, so what we do need to do here is I want to download this. Q3. Yeah. All right, 1 second, guys. 1 second. Hold your horses. I'm just going to my folder here because I don't know what the last thing I had in the folder. Okay. Ba-boom. We're back. Okay, let's get this over here. So we can start marking this up. So this is Q3 of last year, right? And then we also have Q3 of the year before. So now, start to add text. Let's do it in green to start out. Q3 2023. This is Q3 2022. And this is Q3 2021. Right? Let's get this a little bit smaller. Okay, boom. All right, looking better. Get better. Continuously improving. Okay, there we go. That looks good now. Good? Yes, we're good. Okay. So, just, again, this is all like off the dome here and just starting to think about the numbers. And I really encourage everybody to, do this same type of thing. I'm just kind of just looking at different ideas of like what things may look like and just using, like, okay, well, if they raise revenue by 2% and SG&A lowers by about 40 million, like what would things look like, right? Like, again, theoretically. So 1.21, right? Or I guess we should use the exact number. 10.1, right? And let's assume, because, I would say, they're still focused on higher margin items, but we live in an inflationary world. So let's say cost of sales is the same for the sake of this example. Or maybe, no, not the same, because if they rose revenue by 2%, let's say cost of goods went up by like 1%, right? And then revenue went up plus 2% from the same quarter of last year. So if that was the case, you would do 1.01 times 894.8. We would get 903.7. Okay, so we have that there, and that would make gross profits. Put that in green. Be doing 1210.1. What the heck? 1210.1 minus 903.7, 306.8. So that would be better gross profit than last year, right? Percentage-wise, there would be a higher gross profit. And then if SG&A came in, let's say we use 330. 330.0. I guess we should technically make this green. Asset impairments, we'll assume none. So that would make the operating loss, right? $330 minus 306.4. But something I just remembered, what we could put right here, is they're going to recognize one-time gain of plus 6 million from the sale of, I feel like a broken record saying this one. I've been saying it so many times as of late. But from the sale of, let's see, yeah, sale of European land and property, right? So that was a transaction that closed in August of 2023, and Q3 is August, September, and October. So it was actually in the Q2 report when it came out, like it was in the fine print, but it wasn't actually recognized in Q2 because Q2 ends as of the end of July. So for that reason, it's being recognized in this quarter. So if you consider that, right, you could do plus 6 million. Whoa, why'd I put a G? So that would actually theoretically make the operating loss, right? If it would have been negative 23.6 plus, or I'm sorry, let's just do this all again. 306.4, right? That was the gross profit, minus 330, negative 23.6, and then plus 6 would give us negative 17. 17.6 million. Or I shouldn't be doing negatives. It should be counting terms. Should be parentheses. So that would be the operating loss. Still significant improvement from the same quarter of last year. But interest expense, right? Because if it's an expense, it'd be subtracted. But if it's interest income, it's a negative on the statement of operations. And if you look at this most recent quarter that was reported, right? Q2 23. Where did I have it here? I think did I exit out ultimately? All right, let's go back real quick. And interest rates have gone slightly higher than the same quarter, than last quarter. Oh my gosh. So I believe there was one rate hike between Q2 and Q3 for the Fed. So that would theoretically mean the interest income was slightly higher, although they had a little bit more marketable securities than the quarter before that in Q1, right? So their interest income was 11.6 million. So let's assume, and then for the 6 months ended, it was 21.3. So let's assume 12, right? Just a little bit, it's a bit higher, just with a little bit of higher interest rates. So let's say it's going to be 12. If that's the case, it would be 12, right? And then if that's the case, the loss before taxes would be a $5.6 million loss. So that'd be about EPS 2 cents a share. But then if you consider, the income tax expense, if it's about the same, let's just put it in between the last 2 quarters of that were Q3 reported, but just say 1.9. So they would subtract that, and then that would give you, so it would be negative 5.6 minus 1.9. So that would give you negative 7.5. So what this tells me, just in looking at this, right, or just, again, mathing this out, like off the top of my head here and just using theoretical numbers and whatnot, obviously there's a lot of X factors, but if SG&A did actually come in at, let's say, 320, which would be closer to what we saw in Q2, right, that would be a profitable quarter then. All of a sudden, this net loss swings to be net positive. Still there's work for improvement because part of it would be through the interest income as well as the one-time gain that's being recognized. But in this scenario here, this would essentially make it, because then you divide it by 304.8 million, right? Or about 304.5 million shares, and that's about some negative 7.5 million, would give you about a 2 cent loss, right? And again, just complete ballpark numbers here. This is not what I'm locked in on as like the official Tetron, or official, unofficial, whatever you want to call it, Tetron predictions. But that's just some of my perspective of how the quarter may go, right? So if cost of sales is similar and revenue's higher, that would be a make or break in the scenario. If SG&A is slightly lower, that'd be another make or break in terms of the profitability. So this quarter coming up, like I think it's not impossible for it to be slightly negative. I think it's absolutely going to look better than Q3 22, right? And I do think it's very possible it could be positive, but if it is, it's only going to be slightly. So I'm expecting, a very wide range of positive 5 cents to maybe negative 5 cents per share, maybe even down to like negative 8 cents up to 10 cents positive, right? Again, just ballparking numbers here. And I just want to like just throw ideas out there. That's kind of my idea with this, like what I'm doing right now. So with that being the case, it still puts them in a spot because this is Q3. And if you look at like the earnings report that we most recently had, thus far, right, the 6 months ended is at a loss of negative 17 cents per share. So even if they did bring in a loss of 2 cents per share, they'd be at negative 19 cents per share for the full year 23, 9 months in. And that's still significantly better than, let's see what it was here. Oh, nope, here. Last year, the 9 months ended for Q2 was negative $1.19. So they would have gone from 9 months into 2022, they were at a net loss of $1.19 per share. 9 months into 2023, they'd be at a net loss of 19 cents per share. So that's significant improvement. And what that ultimately would mean is it comes down to a strong Q4 making or breaking the year in terms of profitability, which I think regardless, even if we do see a slight profitable quarter in Q3, it's still going to come down to Q4 for if it is a fact that man, full year 2023 is profitable, then it's going to come down to a strong Q4 for GameStop. Historically, Q4 has always been the best for GameStop, just with the holidays and just in general, the sector they're in. That's the case. But we'll have to see, right? Of course, we'll have to see, and that's really what it comes down to. And ideally, I do want to see them profitable. Like I'm not saying I don't in any way, but I do want to keep it real that it's possible this quarter we're just not quite there yet. But I do think again we'll see improvement versus the same quarter of last year. And if we aren't there, I personally believe we're going to be really really close. And then the articles will be, oh, GameStop still negative earnings, right, on the bottom line. And then even if they do slightly beat, oh, GameStop only beat on their earnings because of interest income and their one-time gain from the Europeans' property sale. It's still not a good company. Well, so like it doesn't even matter what happens. Like there's going to be a certain type of stigma or sentiment around it, as there has been for like a long period of time. So it is what it is, right? But I think when you're just digesting numbers, that's like the most important thing to do. Let's hit the chat real quick. Let me get my phone real quick too. Oh my god. Because I'd rather just keep this up for anybody who's kind of analyzing it as I'm checking the chat. But yeah, honestly, guys, I might keep this one super short and sweet. I'm just feeling really like burnt out today. When I can't put a good quality product out there for you guys, like I don't want to just keep going and going. What's the easiest way to get back to someone saying GME has no future? James Bond, that's a good question. I would say, don't believe me, just watch. See what happens. So I think that's the best case. Or just, okay, see what they do in the Web3 gaming. And, they're evolving their stores. They're better managing their capital. There's a new management team in place. I kind of say things like that. And still people always are going to have the counter arguments. And I kind of just go with, it's a unique situation. So you'll have to just kind of see what happens. I mean, that's not the best explanation, but I feel like, there's always like anybody who's saying, oh, GameStop has no future is almost no matter what you say, like they're not really gonna even consider it. I just say, like, listen, I think there's something unique going on. They're cutting costs aggressively. They're trying to operate as efficiently as possible. They're going to deliver on shareholder initiatives, and that's really going to drive them forwards. And they're seeking opportunity in Web3 as part of what they're doing. And Marantz is going live, guys. Yeah, you should definitely check him out after this, as I do wrap things up here soon. And appreciate you popping in, Almo, as always. This is the breakdown I wanted. Thank you. Yeah, September. I mean, I'm just trying to keep it real. I'm always gonna just throw numbers out there, just see what's happening. I'm gonna do more predictions like this. This won't be the only time I do this. Like I'll clean this up again and just run it back and do some numbers again, some other theoretical situations. Maybe we could find a little bit more information that makes things look more in depth, or just make the numbers have more like weight to it. Why? Like these are just complete ballparked numbers, right? Like whereas I do know the 6 million is a one-time gain that's definitely being recognized, and that's like a set number. But the rest of it, I'm ballparking the numbers. Maybe there's some other information I can locate that will allow me to make more accurate predictions, right? So that's just kind of where my head's at right now. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it there for today. I do apologize. I'm just kind of burnt out, and not from YouTube, just from life. And I know everybody's busy, right? Excuses. Gotta stop. No excuses. But this is all I have for today. I'll leave it at that, right? And then I'm gonna come back strong with some more information. Still some things in the works, so just continue to stay tuned. Just gonna keep doing my thing, and I personally feel like this story is far from over with GameStop. It's a unique opportunity. Like I understand it's not for everybody, right? And when you say like, oh, well, people probably like negatively saying it to you if you talk about it to them, and it's like I just get it. It's not everybody's thing, but it's one of those things. If it does work out, which I personally believe it ultimately will, people are gonna be like, wow, this person really saw it before everyone. And on top of it, they were just taking up all that heat, all that criticism, and that's just where I'm at. And there's gonna be more articles, right? Maybe there's gonna be another parabolic situation coming up, right? Stuff like that. You never truly know, and that's what this saga's taught me, that you don't ever truly know what's gonna happen in the short term with said company. So we'll see, right? We'll continue to see. I'm going to continue to just do my research, improve my knowledge, just keep talking to people, interacting with you guys. I always appreciate it very much, whether it's Twitter, here, just always trying to better myself. And, I think whether it's in investing or just life in general, like you always want to better yourself. Like that's really the ultimate goal. And for me, I feel like I'm doing that. I'm doing it at my own pace. And, kind of like GameStop, maybe it's not happening as fast as I personally wanted, right? How I'm like moving along with everything I'm doing. It's not going as fast as I wanted, right? And there's some more unforeseen things I've had to kind of fit into my schedule daily now and whatnot. And it's kind of the same with GameStop. I think originally, it seemed like they would definitely be profitable maybe for the full year of 2023, and now it's like, yeah, it's still a bit of a question mark. I still think it's going to happen. I think a strong Q4 absolutely makes it happen, and they're still looking better than 22. But also with the management team, maybe they thought they would be able to make things happen a little bit sooner than actually took place, and that could be for a variety of factors, right? Like something Morantz talks about a lot is how they're renegotiating a lot of stuff, and on that also, I did start to look up a little bit about the 401k changes. A lot of the employees are, entry level employees and part time employees, so I feel like it doesn't matter too much, but at the same time, it's not the best sign that it's like they're renegotiating that. So I don't know. I have to do more research on that before I fully comment on it. And what was the other thing someone was saying? The player membership, like GameStop Player, has less benefits than before. I don't see that's the case. I just bought an online order. I just went to the GameStop store the other day, and I got myself a mouse that I'm either going to use or wind up giving away to you guys. So stay tuned for that. I might ultimately keep it, but if I don't, after a while, start using it, then I'm just going to give it away. So I'm keeping it in the box for now, just in case. But if not, it'll be given away. But I also just bought some stuff online, like just some miscellaneous things, like AirPod case for someone I'm going to give for Christmas, and sound bar. Bought some. I always buy GameStop batteries when I just need to like boost my cart to get it to the free shipping threshold. Like I bought some AA, AAA batteries, GameStop branded, because always going to need batteries, right? So why not buy a GameStop brand batteries? Because I love the company. And just other few miscellaneous small things. Like I brought this little container thing they have, where it's like it almost looks like an ottoman, but it's like a drawer and you can keep stuff in there like games and whatnot, and it'd just be good for my little setup. So yeah, that's just where I'm at. If you like the company, I feel like you should shop the company, and that's also something I've kind of learned from this situation where I really feel like now I try and spend my money with companies like I respect their mission and like what they do and like what they're about. So like I try not to buy from Amazon, but it's hard when they're the most accessible for a lot of different things. But other companies where I'm like I don't believe in how they do things or what they do, sort of like I try not to shop with them. I try not to purchase from them. I'd rather buy some from somewhere else. And I know that doesn't make a difference to the company in the grand scheme of things, but I feel like if everybody thought like that, things would kind of change. I don't know. But with GameStop, I think there is that common theme of people wanting to shop GameStop first. And that's truly unique because, or not that it's just truly unique, but it's truly important because like consistent, loyal customers is really important. Like the last thing I'll leave you with here is when I worked at Marshalls, I can tell you, I saw some of the same people like so consistently coming into the store. Like they just loved shopping the TJX brands, the Marshalls, the Home Goods, the TJ Maxx. They're always looking for the best deal. They're looking for the scavenger hunt, right? Of seeing how they can find what they can find today when they're shopping because it's always new merchandise coming in. So when you have loyalty to the brand, like there's so much you can do with that. And the craziest part is I feel like GameStop could launch anything. They could launch GameStop coffee, call it like Gamer Fuel. They could launch a GameStop Lego that would sell, right? I think almost anything they do with the GameStop brand, there's a lot of people like myself that would be very interested in trying it or potentially buying it, right? Obviously, depending what it is, that would depend how many people buy it, what market within the GameStop loyal market, right? I don't know. I mean, that's completely just going on complete tangents here. But point being, if you have loyalty to the brand and to the store, like there's a lot of different things they can do. And I think that's really where it comes down to the management team in place to execute upon that. And I really would like to see more GameStop branded products. I do want to write a thread on that soon or just like a long form post on Twitter about that happening. Because, with the passion behind GameStop and the ever evolving PC parts market, I really like the idea of the company creating more products in house under the GameStop brand. Passion for the brand would help drive product sales, but of course, the in house products have to be created with be high quality. Creating a high quality product of any kind, not just necessarily PC parts, will attract more customers beyond those that are passionate. Because it's like, okay, yeah, I bought a GameStop branded SD card and it was solid. So now maybe I'll buy a GameStop branded something again in the future, and that would be from the perspective of somebody who doesn't love GameStop, right? I'm just saying that. So yeah, and also you have to think there's people who maybe had negative sentiment of shopping GameStop based on previous management. So it's hard to win those people back, right? So that's also a challenge I think they have to kind of indirectly address over time by just having a high quality product, a high quality service, shipping to customers as soon as possible. All those things really just kind of come together. But yeah, let's hit the chat one more time. Why do we have to buy Palantir? Yeah, no, it's not saying I have to buy Palantir. What you mean, September? Palantir is interesting one though. I know I have a couple friends that are really, really into Palantir stock. So yeah, that's a unique opportunity itself, but that's very AI driven. And it's funny how every company now, it's always the buzzword AI, AI, AI in their earnings reports. But yeah, man, I feel like I'm just ranting away today. But I feel like it was a decent stream. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to be back strong next week with another stream, that's for sure. Make sure I get some good rest coming in, get some more information, fresh information, update you guys on, fresh analysis, right? All that stuff. So as always, appreciate you guys very much and I hope you have a great night.